Welcome back to Detroit Pissing Me Off. Today on the show, we're going to talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder as they did defeat the Detroit Pistons 124-112 in a ballgame the Pistons were never really in. They lost by 12 in the first quarter with little spacing. Defense was exposed. And honestly, Chet Holmgren was terrorizing. Really seemed to make Jalen Duren uncomfortable inside. Jalen Duren's first rough game of the season, shooting 80% on this season. And this one was just 4 for 11 from the field and only grabbed 7 rebounds. And his minutes were limited to 23 as Marvin Bagley came off the bench and played a little more efficiently. 3 of 4 from the field, 7 of 8 from the line for 13 points off the bench. But the real story of the night was Cade Cunningham and his 7 turnovers. This has been a problem since he has put on a Pistons uniform in his rookie season. He has struggled immensely with the turnovers. And I get it, he's a high usage player. He is going to have some turnovers. But 7 and the timeliness of the turnovers really killed the Pistons in this one. In addition, he was very inefficient. 5 of 15. One positive note, he was 3 of 7 from behind the arc, and his three-point shooting looks like it has definitely improved. Cade finished the game with just 5 assists and 7 turnovers. That ratio is no bueno, my friends. Back to Chet Holmgren. His length was really an issue, and I believe he was making the Detroit Bigs very uncomfortable. I thought Jalen Duren would come out there and abuse the skinnier Chet Holmgren, but it was not the case, as Chet Holmgren was 4 of 5, all from behind the arc. Strong play from Josh Giddey, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was coming off a rough game from Denver. He had something to prove. He scored over 30 in this one. So the spacing issue, why is Killian Hayes, Asar Thompson, and Jalen Duren all in the starting lineup? And I get that argument. It's 3 non-shooters in the starting lineup, go along with Cade and Isaiah Stewart. And Isaiah Stewart could be the 4th non-shooter. I mean, these are not great three-point shooters from the outside. Of course, Isaiah Stewart has been shooting the rock quite nicely to start the season, but he's not considered a dead-eye shooter in any sense of the word at this point in his career. How can they adjust this? Do they need to bring in Alec Burks or Jaden Ivey and have them as starters? Jaden Ivey showing his offensive potential in this one, 20 points off the bench in just 19 minutes and 7 of 13 shooting, 4 of 6 from behind the arc. He's having some really nice games. He's still showing some problems on the defensive end, but the lack of minutes concerns me a little bit. Just 20 minutes for Jaden Ivey. I'd really like to see him closer to 30. I mean, I believe he's a big part in the future of the franchise, and I think at some point he's going to have to prove himself to get back in the starting lineup, and I want to see him get those minutes because I think it's good for his development and for the Pistons long term. So we're still several weeks away until the return of Bojan Bogdanovic and a couple of weeks away from the return of Monty Morris. Also, Livers will be coming back around that time as well. And I think Isaiah Livers, we could definitely use him, a 3-and-D type of player. If Joe Harris doesn't step it up a little bit, in this game he was just 0 for 1, missed his only shot, didn't even get up a 3-point shot. What do you guys think about the spacing issues? Does the starting 5 need to be adjusted? They struggled defensively with their starting lineup this time. The defense wasn't great, allowing 122 points. They had no spacings just around Cade, which does make Cade's life that much more difficult. Of course, his turnovers have not helped things at all either. The spacing may be a small part of that. He just seems to be getting a little bit almost lazy or with his passes sometimes, and they're unforced turnovers, most of them. It's just kind of lapses in judgment that Cade really needs to really find and hone in that skill, or else it's going to plague him in his career. I'm not overly worried about it in the long term. I think he'll get it down. I think he can just stay in that three turnover range. He's going to have some off shooting nights, but he's got to keep those turnovers down. And so a disappointing loss. I was able to go to the game. I had a great time at the ball game. It was a really fun time going to Oklahoma City over them losing, not really being in the game. Kind of dampened it just a bit, to be honest, but hopefully get back on track against a young Portland Trail Blazers team. This is a game that they really need to win on Wednesday night. So, Pistons fans, do me a solid. Smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to remind my videos are uploaded. And I'll see you next time on Detroit Pissing Me Off.